go back. Dawn, you left the group in 1997.
97, yeah.
Now, this was really at the height of your fame, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why did you leave?
There was a lot going on. It was like, you know, we weren't making the kind of money that I thought we should make as the caliber of group that we were.
Dawn Robinson, you know, from En Vogue, from Lucy Pearl, just shocked the internet because she basically revealed that she's homeless.
You guys, for the past almost 3 years, I have been living in my car.
For years, Dawn Robinson has kept a shocking secret hidden from the world. But now, the truth is out. Imagine selling millions of records, being part of one of the most successful R&B groups of all time, and then living in your car. That's the reality for the former En Vogue star, who just revealed that she's been homeless for 3 years.
If you would have said to me while I was in En Vogue, you're going to be living in your car one day, I'd be like, huh? No, I'm always going to have an apartment. I can't live in my car. How can I do that?
But the real question is, how did this happen? Was it bad business deals, betrayals, or something even darker? Dawn Robinson, best known as a former member of the legendary R&B girl group En Vogue, recently shocked fans with a deeply personal revelation. She has been homeless and living in her car for the past 3 years. In a candid YouTube video posted on March 11, 2025, the 58-year-old singer opened up about her unconventional lifestyle, explaining how she ended up in this situation and why she chose to embrace it rather than seek sympathy. Dawn's story of homelessness didn't begin overnight. Back in 2020, she was living with her parents in Las Vegas, but tensions with her mother became unbearable.
I love my mom, but she became very angry. And I was like, I can't deal with this.
Determined to find independence, she left her parents' home and moved to Los Angeles at the suggestion of her former manager, who offered her a temporary place to stay. However, that arrangement quickly fell apart. Dawn ended up living in a hotel for 8 months, but even then, stability remained out of reach. She explained that her manager kept rejecting apartments she wanted to move into, making it impossible for her to find housing. Sometimes people want to trap you and keep you in a situation where you're vulnerable and depending on them, she said, hinting at the controlling nature of the situation. Frustrated, she cut ties with him and decided to figure things out on her own. That's when she stumbled across the concept of car life. After researching the van life and RV communities, Dawn felt inspired. On March 9, 2022, she packed up her belongings, drove to Malibu, California, and committed to living in her car full-time.
There's a whole community of people that live in their cars, and I loved what I was seeing. I just thought, wow, these people, I could do that. I could do this. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. I didn't regret it.
At first, the idea seemed terrifying. That first night was scary, she admitted. However, she quickly adapted, learning key survival tricks like covering her windows for privacy and being cautious about who she spoke to. You don't talk to certain people, she warned, adding that as a woman, especially a celebrity, she had to be extra careful. If you don't know who I am, I'm not telling you that part. Despite the challenges, she embraced the experience, describing it as freeing. It felt like I was on a camping trip, she said. It just felt like the right thing to do. While Dawn insists that her decision was personal and not out of desperation, her journey has not been without painful sacrifices. She revealed that she is no longer in contact with her family and that her dog, Max, who had been her companion through it all, passed away in the car. I really am on my own, she said, reflecting on the loss. Despite this, she remains firm in her decision to live this way. This is not like, oh my God, poor Dawn, she's living in her car, and it's terrible. Oh, woe is me. It's not that. It's not. Instead, she sees it as a journey of self-discovery, saying, I'm learning about who I am. I'm learning myself as a person, as a woman. And while some fans have sympathy for her, others are questioning if there's more to the story. Dawn says she didn't expect to end up like this, but looking back at her career and the financial decisions made along the way, the warning signs were there. So, let's get into the real reason why Dawn ended up in this situation. Dawn Robinson's money problems have been a hot topic for years, especially considering how big En Vogue was back in the day. The group sold millions of albums and had hit after hit, but Robinson has claimed that she and her bandmates only made 2 cents per album. That's almost nothing for a group that was on top of the charts. Fans were shocked when they heard this, and many started wondering if bad management or shady record label deals were to blame for why the group didn't make the money they deserved. When Dawn Robinson opened up about living in her car, fans couldn't help but notice that none of her former En Vogue bandmates, Cindy Herron, Terry Ellis, or Rona Bennett, have spoken out about her situation.
That a lot of people are paying attention to En Vogue, that we are now an entity, that, we are a thing that people talk about and go to see and watch the videos and all that stuff.
For a group that spent years making music together, touring the world, and sharing a sisterhood, their silence has raised a lot of eyebrows. Why hasn't anyone from En Vogue shown public support? Is there still bad blood between them, or have they simply moved on from Dawn completely? To understand this, we have to go back to 1997, when Dawn made the shocking decision to leave En Vogue at the height of their success. At the time, the group had already sold millions of records, had multiple hit songs, and was seen as one of the biggest R&B girl groups in the world. But behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. Dawn has said she felt undervalued and underpaid, and when a major contract negotiation went south, she decided to walk away. That move shook the group and left fans confused, but for Dawn, it was about standing up for what she believed was fair.
Go back. Dawn, you left the group in 1997.
97, yeah.
Now, this was really at the height of your fame, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why did you leave?
There was a lot going on. It was like, we weren't making the kind of money that I thought we should make as the caliber of group that we were.
After leaving, she tried multiple times to reunite with the group over the years, but each time, things fell apart. Whether it was due to personal conflicts, business disagreements, or something deeper, it seemed like no matter how hard they tried, the chemistry just wasn't there anymore. Fast forward to today, and Dawn is struggling more than ever. Yet her former groupmates haven't said a word about it. Some fans believe that this silence speaks volumes. Could it be that there's still unresolved tension between them? For years, Dawn has been outspoken about her mistreatment in the music industry, hinting that her split from En Vogue wasn't entirely her fault. She's talked about feeling left out of business decisions, not getting the credit she deserved, and losing money over bad deals. If those feelings still linger, it's possible that her former bandmates don't feel obligated to speak on her situation. On the other hand, some believe that Dawn's struggles simply aren't their responsibility anymore. After all, it's been decades since she was an active member of En Vogue, and the remaining members have continued to perform, tour, and build their own legacy. Maybe it's not that they're ignoring her situation out of spite. Maybe they just don't see her as part of their lives anymore. It's a harsh reality, but in the music industry, friendships and business relationships don't always last forever. Whatever the case, the silence is loud. Whether it's about old grudges or just a case of people growing apart, one thing is clear: Dawn is facing this battle alone. In any case, when Dawn Robinson left En Vogue in 1997, she hoped for a fresh start in the music industry. She soon joined Lucy Pearl, an R&B supergroup that included Raphael Saadiq and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. The group had a short but successful run, with hits like Dance Tonight gaining popularity. However, despite the success, Robinson's financial struggles didn't improve. They actually got worse. According to Robinson, she was already dealing with money issues when she joined Lucy Pearl. She claims that during this time, she was on the verge of losing her home and that Raphael Saadiq had promised to help her with her mortgage payments. However, when she turned to him for assistance, he allegedly refused, leaving her in a dire financial situation. Robinson has openly spoken about how this situation deeply affected her, as she had believed she could count on Saadiq for support. This alleged betrayal only made her financial problems worse, and she eventually lost her home. But her struggles with Lucy Pearl didn't stop there. Robinson later admitted that she didn't take the time to carefully review the contract she signed with the group. It wasn't until much later that she realized the terms were heavily unfavorable and left her with far less money than she expected.
Here comes that girl named Donnie, ask if she wants to go.
This is a mistake that many artists have made, signing contracts without fully understanding the details, only to find themselves in financial trouble down the line. Robinson's experience is a reminder of how important it is for artists to be cautious when it comes to business deals. One bad contract can have lasting consequences, and in her case, it contributed to her ongoing financial instability. Aside from the financial disputes, Robinson has also suggested that her departure from Lucy Pearl wasn't just about money. She claims that Raphael Sadiq pushed her out of the group because he was jealous of the attention she received. According to her, the media focused more on her than on him, which allegedly led to tensions behind the scenes. While Sadiq has never publicly addressed these claims, Robinson insists that her exit from Lucy Pearl wasn't entirely her decision. Regardless of the reasons behind her departure, her time in the group left her in a worse financial position than before, adding yet another setback to her already struggling career. After her time with Lucy Pearl, Dawn Robinson was determined to launch a successful solo career. She even signed a deal with Dr. Dre's Aftermath Records, which could have been a major opportunity for her. Aftermath was home to some of the biggest names in the industry, including Eminem and 50 Cent. So signing with the label seemed like a step in the right direction. But despite the potential, nothing ever came from it. She never released an album under Aftermath, and her time with the label ended without much explanation. Her ex-husband, Andre Dre Allen, has suggested that Robinson's struggles in the industry weren't just about bad luck. He claims that her difficult personality played a role. If what he says is true, it could mean that she had trouble getting along with people in the music business, which may have made it harder for her to secure deals and keep professional relationships intact. The music industry is known for being cutthroat, and burning bridges can be a career killer. If Robinson had conflicts with label executives or producers, that might explain why her solo career never took off the way she hoped. But Robinson's struggles weren't just professional, they were deeply personal. One of the most painful parts of her journey has been her experience with homelessness. She has said that her manager put her in a hotel for 8 months, but wouldn't approve any of the apartments she wanted to rent. Because of this, she never got a stable place to live. This part of her story has sparked mixed reactions. Some people feel sorry for her, believing that she was mismanaged and taken advantage of. Others argue that she relied too much on others to handle her finances and should have been more independent in making decisions about her living situation. Over the years, Robinson has pointed fingers at different people: her former bandmates, her ex-husband, and her manager, for her financial troubles. While some of her claims may be valid, this has led to criticism that she hasn't taken full accountability for her own choices. Her personal life has also been filled with challenges. In 2020, she moved back in with her parents in Las Vegas, hoping for stability. But things didn't go well between her and her mother, leading her to leave. With nowhere else to turn, she started living in her car, which made an already difficult situation even worse. Her ex-husband, Dre Allen, has also spoken publicly about their marriage, accusing her of cheating and being dishonest. He denies any claims that he was abusive and even offered her a job after hearing she was homeless. Apparently, Allen reached out with a job opportunity, offering her a position in the hospitality industry. His decision to extend a helping hand has sparked debates, with some seeing it as a genuine attempt to help, while others question his motives.
feet. Andre, who was married to the singer from 2003 to 2010, tells TMZ on March 13th that she would be the perfect inclusion into the Hilton brands, adding that his transition to the hospitality industry has been nothing but good for him.
Allen, who was married to Robinson from 2003 to 2010, shared in an interview with TMZ Hip Hop that he believes she would be a great fit for a sales role at Hilton Brands. He praised her charisma and personality, stating that she has the skills to succeed in the field. He also voiced doubts that the entertainment industry would ever pay her what she's worth at this stage in her career. Having left the music business himself, Allen claims he has found far greater financial stability in hospitality and wants Robinson to have the same opportunity. Allen's own career path adds an interesting layer to this offer. As a former member of the R&B group For Example, he was once part of the same industry that Robinson has been struggling in for years. His group, known for their hit I'd Rather Be Alone, saw some success in the 1990s before disbanding in 1998. Since then, he has moved on to other ventures, including songwriting and hospitality. According to him, stepping away from the music business saved his life and finances, and he now wants to help Robinson find similar stability. The job offer also comes with benefits, including free medical coverage from day one and paid time off to accommodate her career pursuits. Allen claims he has loaned money to many struggling musicians and has seen several industry peers fall into poverty. Because of this, he says he felt compelled to reach out and offer Robinson a way to get back on her feet. However, it's unclear whether Robinson will accept the offer. Some people believe she might see it as an insult rather than an opportunity, considering she once had a thriving career in the entertainment industry. Others think this could be the fresh start she needs, especially given how difficult it is to maintain financial stability in music without consistent work. Her story has also started bigger conversations about the entertainment industry. Should successful artists help out their struggling peers? Or is it up to each person to handle their own finances? Robinson's situation is proof that being famous doesn't always mean being financially stable. A lot of artists have ended up in similar situations because of bad contracts, poor money management, or trusting the wrong people. Adding to this speculation, Robinson has announced plans to produce a documentary about her life living in her car, with the hope of selling it to Netflix. She says the project will provide an intimate look into her struggles, offering an unfiltered glimpse into what she's been going through. On one hand, this could be an opportunity for her to reclaim her narrative, shed light on the challenges of the music industry, and show the resilience it takes to survive in Hollywood when the spotlight fades. If done right, a documentary could reignite interest in her career and even open doors for new opportunities. However, some people aren't convinced that her intentions are entirely genuine. Critics argue that this might be another attempt to regain public sympathy and financial support rather than a sincere effort to document her hardships. They question whether the documentary will be a raw, honest portrayal of her situation, or if it will be edited in a way that places all the blame on others while downplaying any personal responsibility. Given her history of pointing fingers at her former bandmates, ex-husband, and management, some worry that this project could be more about controlling the narrative than telling the full story. Regardless of her motives, the documentary could serve as a way for Robinson to reintroduce herself to audiences, especially younger generations who may not be familiar with her contributions to music. If she's able to successfully tell her story and connect with viewers, it could lead to new opportunities, whether in music, public speaking, or even reality television. But whether the public embraces her story or sees it as another attempt to stay relevant remains to be seen. In any case, while some people blame bad contracts and betrayals, others believe that Dawn's own decisions are to blame. Some critics argue that she walked away from too many opportunities, made poor financial choices, and refused to adapt to the industry. Others say that she burned too many bridges with her former bandmates, which is why none of them are helping her now. And then there are those who think that Dawn isn't telling the full truth. There have been rumors that she might be exaggerating her struggles to gain sympathy and financial help. Some fans question how someone who made millions could be completely broke without any personal mistakes along the way. But whether you believe Dawn's story or not, one thing is clear. Her life took a turn that no one expected, and as of now, she's still homeless, still struggling, and still searching for a way to rebuild her life. At the end of the day, Dawn Robinson's story showcases the dark side of the music industry. Even with millions of album sales and worldwide fame, artists can still end up with nothing if they don't control their finances. And while some people blame bad contracts and betrayals, others say Dawn made too many mistakes and didn't take accountability when she had the chance. However, Dawn's journey isn't over. She has shown resilience, creativity, and the ability to reinvent herself. With her talent, industry experience, and a dedicated fan base, there's always a chance for a comeback. Whether through new music, a documentary, or other ventures, she still has opportunities to turn things around. But only time will tell if she actually will get back on her feet. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.